Hello, you're listening to the DMT Insider podcast with me, Billy Differ, and I'm thrilled to be in the room where it happens, sorry guys, at Victoria Palace Theatre with two of the current stars of Hamilton, Alex Sawyer, who plays Hamilton, and Jay Perry, who plays Aaron Burr. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us. Very excited to be here.
Now, the show has been running since 2017 and shows no sign of slowing down, delighting audiences with Lin-Manuel Miranda's multi-award winning, groundbreaking musical. And I thought, just to get us off and running, I could ask you both the same question if you don't mind. And for the listeners, they're both shaking their heads, but we're just going to do it anyway. What was the first thing you wanted to understand and know about your character before stepping into the role?
That's a great
Alex.
question. Oh, am I going first? Do you have anything on top of
No, you go
Okay, well,
first.
okay.
Give me a second.
First thing I wanted to know about my character, I guess how and why they react to something is always the first thing you want to look at. I'm trying to think what my approach was even in coming into this character. First of all, I think coming into this building is just having every day to get your head around the fact that you're in Hamilton. And then it's trying to learn the music as quickly as possible, which I think when I started, I made a promise to myself I would know everything before I started, and I didn't. And I remember there was one, this wasn't the question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. There was a point where I had to learn, we were doing Non-Stop, which is actually now my favourite song. And everyone else that I was learning with knew all the songs really well, and I did not. But I didn't want to bring everyone back, so we had a lunch break, and I had to learn the entire thing in that lunch break, so I could come back and know how everything went. Because I can't read music, or couldn't read music at the time. I can't read music now still. I don't know why I tried to start as if I could. So trying to get my head around that was a primary point. And then also just seeing how I connect with the character. What can I bring to it?
Because as they might say, your name's above the door.
Yeah, there you go. Wait, which one, Alex or Hamilton?
Oh, the Hamilton one. Well, I don't know about Alex the musical, but it could be the follow-up. It's got a ring to it. So you've already got a sort of a pressure on you, I think, that maybe other people don't necessarily have.
Yeah, I don't think I felt that though.
You didn't feel
I think I felt the pressure to
great.
get it right. I felt like I wanted to do the correct thing. I don't think I wanted to do the appropriate interpretation. I think I wanted to do... which is actually, I think this is a bit of a trap for an actor. I wanted to do my interpretation.
Yeah, I was going to ask, have you seen other people do it?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of other people do it.
Yeah.
And I've seen some phenomenal performances that you're like, oh, I wish I thought of that. And I've seen bits where I'm like, oh, I don't love that bit. Or like, you just, coming into anything, you want to do your version of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the way that can not serve you in this is that actually it's very good as it is. And decisions have been made for a reason, and if you try and make decisions that counter what you've seen already just for the sake of making those decisions, you end up potentially ruining something. So, I've been here, this is my 4th year. It's a journey over the years of trying to figure out what's here because it needs to be, what can change, how can I tell a story that is authentic to the character and to myself, but also tell a story that is the actual story.
And when you came in, you say 4 years, when you came in at the beginning, it wasn't as Hamilton.
I was the alternate.
From the off, you were the alternate.
So I was 2 years of the alternate, and I became in Hamilton in my 3rd year.
Very good. And also, Jay, if I could ask you the same question, what was the first thing you wanted to understand and know about your character before stepping into the role?
Him being the narrator, I was always interested in his own inner monologue versus what he was saying out loud. That was what it kind of caught my interest. We all have things that we say out loud and that we want people to hear, and then we all have things that are going on inside our head that we don't necessarily want people to hear. And I think that's what makes Aaron Burr tick. I think that what we don't hear from him is what makes him interesting. And so it was exploring that for me that kind of was like, maybe that will give me a little bit more insight into why he did what he did, because what he is presenting to us is a veneered version of potentially the story. And so what is it that's actually going on in the nuances that are going on within his brain at certain points in the show? And so that's what I kind of wanted to kind of find and play with.
Sure. Alex, which lyrics hits you differently now than when you first started performing, especially as things evolve like in the US right now? Is there things that are hitting you differently?
I've made a point, I think it was in the past couple of weeks, to really push, what is it? If we get involved in every revolution in the world, we never stop, where do we draw the line? Which is...
That's like a gasp. That's like what?
It's a big thing. I mean, if I've literally spent today, because I'm a nerd, watching debates between Democrats and Republicans, where they talk about stuff like that, and this whole concept of America being a world police, and the ego behind that. There is, it's a balance, and I think this is the thing. It's a question, and I love that it's a question because there is no answer. It shouldn't be that we shouldn't get involved. It should not we, that Americans shouldn't get involved, or that America should get involved. It's the question of where is the balance. Ultimately, if you look at the conflict in anywhere really, I mean, we think about people suffering greatly in Iran. It's one of those situations where you can't let that go on. There has to be a point where you do everything in your power to stop it. But also, it is egotistical to think it is up to me to do something about it.
To do it, yes.
And it can't be one of those off-the-cuff decisions. It's got to be balanced. It's got to be something that you get people's opinions and you decide and you use the information you have.
But for something like the piece Hamilton, that has all those, resonances, it is actually quite... Is it quite difficult for you to not feel that pressure? And I don't think you should, but does it creep in? Do you sort of, Tash, do you feel sometimes?
Yeah, I think there's an awareness, isn't there, of the world that we're living in and everything that's going on. And you talk about it often, actually. So at the beginning of the show, we kind of circle up. We're on stage right, aren't we? Yeah. So we both start on stage right, and there's like a group of us, and we kind of circle up, and we have a moment where someone takes the lead, and normally it's just a little bit of a pep talk, but it's nothing crazy, but it's just something to kind of get us into it. But you often talk about the fact that we're in a show about the possibilities and the hope of a new nation, and the possibilities and the hope of for this country to be whatever we want it to be. And so I think it's that awareness that we're showcasing, or being a part of something that has hope and has that idea of hope. And I think that's what I'm the most aware of. And however that falls into context of what's going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah, sure.
It's really difficult.
I think it gives people a little bit of something. Anyone that comes and watches the show, I think it's fun to sit in that world. Well, the world of possibility.
I do actually, as someone that has watched musicals my whole life. For me, if there's something that's beyond what's on the stage, I think you are learning. I think you are getting something. I think that really does happen with Hamilton. There's something more than what's just going on the stage. That's very good. And I'm looking at you both. Please be assured.
You want people to you want it to resonate with people. And I think my connection to the show changed a lot. I think after the US election, I just think you felt because you're going on stage, you're singing about creating America every day, and I think it was at that point I think it shifted for me to we were talking about it's the creation rather than the America of it. You are telling a historical story, but it's about, I kind of think of it as a utopian thing. It's about how can we create this new society that just happens to be have the same name as the society that already exists.
Yeah, sure. What do you hope audiences maybe understand about your character that they might have missed on a first watch? I have to say, the first time I saw it, it was almost, not, in fact it was overwhelming. I had to see it, and every time I've seen it subsequently, I've got something more out of it and understood bits of it that I didn't before. But do you think that the question, do you think there might be something that they miss on a first watch that they'll get when they come back? Alex?
I think people love to pick sides when they watch stuff. I think people love to glorify or vilify because it's easier. We like to put people in boxes, and I think what's important about this story, especially when you look at the actual historical context, and as much as they talk, for example, we talk about slavery and how and condemn it in the show. Like, these are people who own slaves, and you have to take on, again, the balance of the fact that you can't define people in absolutes. Only a Sith deals in absolutes, as we all know. So I don't know why I said that. We can keep it in there.
It's the geekiest thing.
I'm not even that much of a
It's the
Star Wars
geekiest
fan.
thing
I
you
don't
could
know why I
say.
said that. And it's killed my train of
Well, we
thought.
call it the
But-
Insider Podcast. We like to get the bits that are not just all
Exactly.
polished up and lovely. That's
But
a
it's-
good insight.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, you know, I've watched a couple of films recently, Anora and One Battle After Another, and it's like you're watching a story about flawed people because it's the most interesting thing, and you can pick the bits that are relatable to you, and you can pick the bits, whether they're positive or negative. You don't necessarily have to be completely on side with someone or not be on side.
I mean, I think that's where, certainly for me, seeing the show more than once, the Ehrenberg character, you definitely change your view. Well, I certainly did, and I've spoken to a lot of people who have said that. Do you feel that people that watch it for a second time or a third time will say, oh, I didn't quite get that, or...
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's what you were saying about that, the kind of antagonist, protagonist thing. You know, we're kind of led to think that Burr is the antagonist, aren't we? We're led to think that he's kind of the villain. And I think that that maybe a second or a third watch, I think you really realise that he's a human. He's fallible, you know? Like, and that's all it is. And in the context of when they were living, in the context of how the world worked, he made a really big mistake, you know? And I think
Yeah, what's his line? I'm the
damn fool that shot him.
yeah.
He knows he made a mistake. He tells you that right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then he runs you through the story, his version of the story. But yeah, I think my job, I think I always feel like I've done the best job when people leave with a question of doubt about Burr and they go, I'm not sure he was so bad. I'm not sure he was that bad. It's just a question of doubt. Like, I'm not really looking to I'm not looking to be the hero of the story, and that's not what I'm looking for people to feel, but I want them to have the
doubt.
Yeah, have the doubt. Feel a bit complicit in it. Feel a little bit like, oh, I could have maybe done that. Like, you know?
Yeah, because that's real life.
That's
isn't
life.
it?
That's
It's
being a
actual
human,
real life.
right?
It's not all binary, one's good, one's bad.
Yeah.
It's just not. No, and I think that's what the joy of this story is that it kind of transcends the binary.
Can I ask you a question, Wilson? You just said about do you feel like Burr's telling of the story is biased? Do you think that the story is inherently biased towards Burr's view?
No, not necessarily biased. I think that there are moments within the story where I think we see it from Burr's point of view, and then I think there's moments where it's his recollection of it just comes from, I mean, it's memory, isn't it? And so I think that
Well, it's all memory, I guess, is also the whole...
exactly. So I don't, because we only really hear from Burr as the narrator, I just don't think I could ever say that it's what happened, you know, it's factual. I think it's important to recognise that point, you know, that
That's
it
a really
comes
interesting, I
from
never really thought about that.
him
Even
specifically.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Yeah.
I mean, Hamilton's driven almost to self-destruction. How do you portray that ambition without losing audience sympathy? Because, you know, you think of Hamilton as the hero of the piece, but then he really goes into a dark place.
I think, you know, as I said, we're talking about the fact that it's not a binary thing, protagonist, antagonist. Humans are flawed. It's very difficult to tell a story where it's a human living their life as they lived it and not garner sympathy in some way. So I think it's just authenticity. And then you will gain sympathy at some moments, you will gain condemnation at others, and that is just the nature of it.
Yeah, and then that is the whole mix of it as well. But it's watching, when you, as an audience member, when you watch that on stage, it's your portrayal of it that's coming across, and I think you can influence that. Is really where I think it's the same with Burr. And in terms of his flaws, what of his flaws would you find hardest to defend as an actor?
I think that his inability to recognise what Hamilton is so good at and see in Hamilton what he lacks, what Burr specifically lacks, and see that Hamilton excels in. I think is his undoing from the very beginning. And it's literally right at the very, very end of the show that he's like, you know, the world was wide enough for the two of us. It's like that penny drops of like, oh, what it was that Hamilton has that I lack is what could have made us an incredible team. We could have changed the world together. We could have been an incredible force together.
Yes.
And because he couldn't quite see that, it's so frustrating.
Yes.
It's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating as an actor to play that, because it's like that battle like going on inside you. But then that's also where the fun lies as the actor, is that there is that battle going on.
Yeah.
Because I imagine there was that battle in him going on, but he just didn't know what that was. He didn't know what was playing out inside of him, and that kind of frustration and that angst that he was constantly feeling towards this person. It was that he just couldn't quite figure out how it was that they could come together and be brilliant together, and that is so frustrating to me. But I mean, I have hindsight, like so.
I think you might have hit on Hamilton too. You know.
Yeah.
If they had got together, where could that have gone? I mean, it's because the power of their minds, the power of their abilities to work wholly together, as opposed to being at odds with each other.
And we see it for a very brief moment in Non-Stop.
I was just thinking
when they work together as, you know, as lawyers for a little while in Non-Stop, and they can recognise at that time that they were a great team. They can recognise that Burr's kind of stringency for the rules and, you know, doing things as they should be, but Hamilton's flair and ability to bring people in and draw people in was what was great about the two of them.
The teamwork.
The teamwork was great. But it always feels like we are like a second away, or like one conversation or one yes as opposed to one no away from changing the world at all times. We have it in Non-Stop where you come to the door and you say, write the Federalist Papers with me. And I go, no one wants to do that, no one wants to hear that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, come on, like, write them with me, it will be amazing. And I'm like, nah, you're good. And like, I feel like if he'd said yes at that point, we would have worked on something together that would have, that we would have both been able to have learned so much about each other that it would have again changed the trajectory
and contributed to from different angles as well.
Exactly.
It's like we played that scene in so many different ways over the time we've done it. And it's like one of my favourite bits to do, because you don't get a lot of kind of straight moments of just acting conflict in this show. There's a lot going on all the time.
There certainly is.
And just having that is so nice, because it's just two people pushing in opposing directions. And I find it really fascinating, because for me it's just so like obvious, like obviously you need to do this the country needs it. Do you find it was... Part of me wants to ask you what drives you during that scene. However, my job is to not know, to be straight in not knowing. So what I want to ask is, do you find that it came easily to you knowing why you're saying no? Or was it something you needed to find?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, yes, I do find it easy to say no, because where Burr is at that point, I think he finds it very easy to say no. And a lot more of it is based around you, as opposed to the idea that you're bringing to him.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's where I place it, because for me, I feel like the idea makes sense. It makes some sense. You know, what you're saying makes sense. And I think in another world, Burr could have got involved in that, maybe if it hadn't been you. There's something about you bringing that idea to him that I just think he just doesn't love. And the way that you bring it to him, he doesn't love that either. And the way that... the fallout from it is that you were right and you proved him wrong. And I think that kind of, that just slightly missing it and not realising that Burr is taking things personally and Hamilton isn't at all times, really, is a joy to play with. So I feel like when you are coming at that, you're like, dude, wake up, wake up. Like,
it's like the world needs this. Why are we debating about what we need?
But Burr is stuck in a place where it's personal to him. He's like, not you, anyone but you.
Yeah, it's almost anyone but you.
It's
really,
anyone
isn't
but
it?
you.
Yeah. In terms of the physicality of the role and having to vocally prepare for such a demanding role every night, do you have any tips, Alex, that you or regimes that you follow?
I think. yes, steaming is good. It's funny because I'm just not strict with it as I should be. Which I probably shouldn't admit, but I will. You know, I lost my voice quite early on when I started doing this, and I think that was a bit of a wake-up call. I had to go and have like a thing shoved down my throat to look at my vocal cords. And it was a wake-up call to be like, oh, okay, people like steam before the show every day for a reason. It's not just something you just do and it's fine. I can't sit in my car and sing Panic at the Disco full album and then go to work and then expect to... I did that today, we'll see after that show goes. But like you can't then expect to go on and do the show without steaming, which I'll have to do. And you learn about how to, you know, control your voice and breath work. I think like for me, I sang from like the neck a lot rather than singing from my diaphragm. Even though you hear sing from your diaphragm, but it takes time to really realise what that means and to actually incorporate it. But overall, my biggest like help in terms of learning how to approach it was through Claire. Claire Underwood, who is our vocal coach on the show. She's able to us should we need help there. And I think she was actually, before I even got the job, I did a session with her before my final audition, and just the way that she takes on, you're not just learning about singing, you're learning about the acting and singing at the same time. And there's elements of the acting you can use. There's something at the beginning of Hurricane, for example, where it's in the eye of a hurricane, and she wanted me to kind of get like right to the kind of like top back of my throat and like make it really soft. And it's got to come from an acting place. It's got to come from a place of you know, fragility and vulnerability. Thank you. And then you can just kind of naturally just be like, this is how I would be speaking it because I feel kind of vulnerable and just kind of in the eye of a hurricane there is. And then you can build from there. But it gives you a place to start from, based on the acting, based on the voice, and then you can kind of experiment with that. So she's just amazing.
Yeah, I did wonder, because when I was doing my research, noticed that you'd been in Oliver.
Oh, years ago.
Time
It was
ago.
the very first thing I ever did at the Epsom Playhouse.
I just wondered, is there any vestige of that person now, that when you're in out, do you ever think, oh God, I did that then, or no?
It's funny, I mean, the vestige of that person is just me being me. It's something I realised recently, or thought about recently, is the fact that like when I was a kid, and I thanked my mum for this a few days ago actually, when she was on the phone. When I was a kid, I realised...
And you always should.
I always should.
He said rather firmly.
Thank you, mums. I was really allowed to be myself when I was a kid. Like, my family was always so encouraging of me expressing myself in such an authentic way. And then you go to school and that all goes away, and that's when the real problems develop. But
Truly.
up to a point, family-wise, I was always able to be me, and so I was able to develop like whatever my character is. And it was that character, I mean, it's the ADHD, but it was that character that allowed me to, like, which I didn't find out until recently, it allowed me to go to, like, do things at Oliver, and the fact that my mum took me there and thought it would be a great idea, to expel the energy, and then, you know, be creative with it and go to, like, weekend classes at Lanes and do acting classes and explore and be creative, and then it's that same energy that I use on stage when I need to think of something new to do or find a new way of expressing an emotion.
Well, that was a lot more than I thought we'd get from that. and I mean that in a really good way, because I truly believe that your formative years, when you're young, do stay with you, and that having had that experience, you have obviously, it's inherent in you now to utilise, which I think is wonderful. And I cannot be, you know what I'm going to ask
I
now.
know where this is going.
Did you see the segue?
It was
beautiful. Beautifully done.
And it was subtle.
It was
I
I wouldn't go that far. But S Club 7 Juniors, wow. Yeah. And you, as I understand, you weren't able to go to the audition. Was that what happened?
Yeah, so it was around my 12th birthday. And so the London audition, I think was on or around my 12th birthday, so I think we had plans. And so you could send in like a tape instead. And so I've seen this tape recently actually, but it's me in this oversized shirt, singing S Club 7, like step clicking in my living room, looking so cute.
I have the same video, it just got me nowhere.
It just got me nowhere.
Oh dear, it was going so well.
And yeah, I sent in the video not thinking that they would actually watch it, because I think this was pre-Pop Idol, pre-X Factor, pre all of them things where I don't know, whether we were just used to seeing people get picked for things like that.
But I was very impressed that you sent a tape in. I mean, that's, nowadays that's like nothing, but...
We sent a little cheeky tape in, and they invited me to the finals in London, which was the longest day of my life to this point. But it was amazing, and S Club 7 were there, and, Simon Fuller and Nicky
And
Chapman.
that's all mind-blowing stuff, is it not, for your age?
Yeah.
You're like, wow.
As a kid, it was just huge. Like, I mean, I was a drama kid. Like, I think I'd had my West End debut already. I think I was in Whistle Down the Wind before I was in Whistle Down the Wind at the Aldwych Theatre. And
which I saw, but I can't remember your performance. I'm sorry about that. In a way, it's probably good because you were a kid. It would be like a bit creepy now.
Yeah,
saying,
okay.
I remember you.
That kid, yeah.
Yeah, for multiple reasons, that's a good.
It's a good answer. Yeah.
Mainly my performance. But yeah, no. So it was what I did, but never in this context, like in this kind of pop world context, and it was just on such a big scale, and it was just so cool. Like it was just really cool as a kid to be able to do something, get it, and then experience the things that I then experienced afterwards. It was really exciting.
But it is that thing of that all that experience, and here you are playing Aaron Burr. I mean, two extremes you couldn't get further apart.
Yeah.
But are there any elements of that in terms of the trying to be the sympathetic elements of?
In terms of like direct parallels, no. But in terms of like my performance style and like how I learned from a very, very young age, like how to perform, like and how to be able to bring a part of myself into a role, to be able to show my personality, to be able to be confident and comfortable on a stage. Those are things that I learned in that band, and I wouldn't change them for the world. They are the kind of foundations that have made me the performer that I am today.
I saw the clip of you at West End Live, and that bears out just what you've said. You seem very eased on that stage, and that sea of faces, in Trafalgar Square could be quite overwhelming for a lot of people. But you went with it, and
I think it's something that I've been doing from a very young age, like being in front of an audience, and I can kind of zone them out whilst also trying to wanting to draw them in, and so I do put that down to the S Club Junior days. So
it's
it was worth it.
Yeah, we are.
I'm starstruck every time I think about it because I was a huge S Club 7 fan.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my god! Like literally, what was it? My 30th birthday. I was at my parents' house. 30th. And my mum was playing like the three S Club 7. The first three S Club 7 albums, S Club 7 and Sunshine. Just because it was like a throwback to me when I was a kid. So we were doing the same thing. You just actually were.
That's very cute.
Very famous from it.
Very cute.
Alex, is there a moment on stage that still gives you chills?
Several. Yeah, on a good day. I think that's the battle of doing a show as many times as we do is making sure that you because it's the key moments in someone's life. They should all be chilling in some way, whether it's good or bad, and trying to keep it fresh in a way that you still feel that is difficult. But fortunately I can say that I do still get chills at various moments. Although I guess I should probably pick one for the answer because it's more interesting, isn't it?
No.
Oh, just
No. If you don't want to, you don't have to. We don't want to cause any angst.
Actually, do you know what? No, there is one. It's I don't know why this one, but I always think about if you got skin in the game, you stay in the game. He's talking about the room where it happens, and he talks about the fact that he's managed to get them to accept his financial plan, which again is a story of balance. Is they needed something, he needed something. It was for the betterment of the country in their opinions, and they moved forward with it. He was able to build a financial system that made sense, and he'd researched and it worked. And he did it by doing something that was kind of unprecedented, even though it wasn't actually originally his idea to make that compromise. It was someone else's, but still. Just having that moment just thinking, this decision. What's really nice about Hamilton is every moment of aspiration that he has, I allow myself to think of a moment of reality. If I'm looking out on what New York can be, I can just see actual New York City, because he was such an aspirational person that he probably saw what it was today. So when I think of, in that moment, when I'm talking about, you know, creating this financial system, I think about the fact that the stock market is huge, and like the fact that there is so much money, and I can just think about what it is today, and that's the same feeling I assume that he had.
He had then,
he
yeah.
was aspirational.
That's nice.
nice.
We're coming towards the end, careering towards the end, but I just, in terms of leaving the stage, how do you mentally leave the character after such an intense show, Jay?
Yeah, I've got a lot better at that. I think at the beginning, that's difficult.
It's really difficult.
It's difficult.
And the worst
to
thing
leave.
is,
Well, I didn't say it was all going to be easy. I don't remember that.
Exactly.
you don't,
I've
again,
got to earn my money somehow.
like preparing my voice, no, I didn't think it would be as big of a deal as it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It was difficult at first.
Yeah.
It was difficult at first, and I think that there's like a shift that I actually have started to have within the show, right at the very end, where it's almost like I'm trying to shift back to Jay and just kind of, which is a bit naughty because the place still happened, but it's a cheeky moment. Like it's
Don't tell people when it is.
no, I'm not going to. Maybe I won't tell them when it is. I'll see if anyone can spot it. Come see this show and spot when Jay switches off. What a way to sell the show. Yeah, no, for me it's actually like leaving the building now. I have a half an hour tube journey home. In that time,
And that gives you time to...
yeah, I put on music that I absolutely love. Like, I don't tend to really look at my phone in terms of like a social media I kind of stay away from that. I might be reading a book that I get into or something that's just for me, something that's personal for me, and it kind of brings me back. And then I get home, I have a little chat with my partner. We always have like a debrief of our day, and then it feels like by that time I'm like,
You've sort of landed.
I've leveled out, and I'm like, okay, I'm back to me. Let's get to sleep, baby.
Yeah.
Let's get some sleep.
Yeah, because you can't just come off the stage and go to that. That's the thing that obviously been around this world. I've seen it with people, and you're buzzed up when you come off the stage. You can't just go that I'm going to bed.
Yeah, and it used to be like, you know, back in when I've been doing this for like 12 years now. Like when I was first doing it, when I was in the ensemble of certain shows, I'd be like, right, where are we going out tonight? Like we'd finish, and I'd be like,
yes.
we're buzzed. Let's go out. We're getting our drinks. And like, that can't happen anymore. That is not an option for me at my ripe old age. So yeah, I had to find other tools to kind of like bring me down and just kind of like get to a place of, you know, equilibrium again.
But I find that easy, and you, Alex?
I mean, the content of the show is so heavy in a way that, you know, you don't realise when you're first doing it how much it affects you. But actually, every day, if you're trying to convey a feeling and you have methods of getting to that place, and eventually you're going to need to keep it fresh because you do it so many times. You have to keep changing the methods you use because those methods stop working. And then you start using methods that are perhaps not the healthiest. If I need to think about the fact that Hamilton's son has died, maybe I think about someone who's actually died, or maybe I think about an event that actually is in real life. And your brain, you know, you're in the middle of a musical, in that moment where I'm standing there next to Eliza and I'm just like, there's 1,500 people in front of me and I just need slightly to be more sad than I am. There's the 1% of my brain that's in control that's like, this just needs a little bit of a tinge. Sometimes it's not great to always have that controller there. You kind of just want to let it flow, but sometimes you need to. And your brain's like, okay, use this. And then you use this thing that you shouldn't use. Then that sticks with you and you're making an association between that thing and another thing. And you're creating these synaptic connections in your brain that really shouldn't exist. And so it means that when you're going about your everyday life, those connections still exist. And I think the trick is making sure that you are aware of the fact that that's happening and able to control it, work around it, avoid it where possible. I'm a really a bit of a martyr of an actor, in that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, do whatever on stage I need to get to where I need to get to. And I remember I was talking to Maria about this, about who's Maria doing, what's her job title?
She's like our therapist.
Yeah. You know, I was saying that when I do Quiet Uptown, I will do anything to get to the place I need to get to, because I will make that sacrifice for the audience and I will get to that place because that's what they came to see and that's what will tell the story the best. And she was trying to give me tools to not have to get to that place. And I was resistive because I was like, ooh, you know, I feel like that's not what my job is. My job is to throw myself out. And my job is to be able to do it consistently. And so I can't constantly throw myself at this thing in whatever way. It needs to be controlled. And also, I think the older I get, the more I'm like, actually, I'm also a human being who needs to survive. So I can't constantly throw myself up there. There needs to be some level of control, not just for longevity, but for me as a person.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's completely right, because you couldn't give your 100% to absolutely every performance, or you would be burnt out within a week, I would think.
Yeah.
So long may that continue. Your synaptic connections.
Synaptic connections, yeah.
There was a wee bit of science and everything to do. I mean, come on.
I clocked that one as well. I thought,
Well, let's all hope it's right, right?
I was like, ooh.
Well, I'm sure that's a whole other programme. We'll get to that
We'll
later.
be looking that up afterwards.
My thanks to Alex Sawyer and Jay Perry, the current Hamilton and Burr, and to remind you that tickets for the show at the Victoria Palace are available on the Delfont Mackintosh website. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.